living a golden experience. My life too lit, it's delirious. I keep that star on my back. Look at my face, can't fear shit. Built to the top like a pyramid. My lineage lit and it's serious. Bring the beat life like Jorno. Young gang star, flip the kill switch. Jojo, pose, pose, pose. Jojo, pose, pose, pose. Jojo, pose, pose, pose. Jojo, pose, pose, pose. Are you sure you're not an enemy stand user? Ha! Air to my knee, not can't stand niggas. Gang start, gang moves, fans get bigger. Rock, paper, scissors, my hands too different. Move like Bruno, might dip in a zipper. Shooting shots, purple hermit, put you in the picture. Shoot shots, gun loaded, feel like Mr. I've been with my dog like Iggy. Avd all mindset, fire flame with me. Still came with the water, bitch, I feel like Misty. White fool with me, she missed me, she kissed me. Gotta breathe like, come on. Murder, murder, mood him with a beat it up, come on. Lisa, love me, lost with the glove on. Slayer stand and let the requiem run on. Living a golden experience. My life too lit.
Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and it is another brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And guys, I'm already excited because when it comes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, y'all know how I am when it comes to this series. And joining me on today's episode of Who's That Cosplayer is cosplayer A.R.M Productions. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm cold because it is really cold here in Virginia right now. But your boy is pushing through because it's a brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer, and I'm ready to get into it. So before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And like D always says, podcast link down in the description, like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. So I always have a question that I want to ask all of our guests, but first, I just want to let everybody know who's watching right now. Allison helped me out in a JoJo challenge, JoJo Pose challenge that I had made for when part 6 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure came out. And I'm going to put that in this video so that way that you guys can see that. But her Giorno cosplay is awesome. She's wearing the same cosplay that she wore when we did the video. And I just want to say thank you so much because this is our first time actually like talking and seeing each other on screen. So thank you so much for helping me out with that.
No problem. That was fun. The suit actually is a bit different from what I did then, but overall it's still the black suit.
Yeah, and I love it. And that's one of the things I love about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is because all the different colors. I know that you know Best Demiguise, and she had never seen Dio's outfit where it's red and blue. And she was like, why does he look like a firefighter? I said, do not disrespect Dio's red and blue outfit. Because it's like, I want to cosplay as the red and blue because I've never seen that color combination.
No, I haven't seen that either. I'm kind of tempted to do the Iraqi art of Giorno with blue hair in the black suit. I'm kind of tempted to do that.
You should do that because, all right, we'll get into that before I ask this question. But the first question that I have, and I ask everybody this, is what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who A.R.M Productions is.
Okay, it's actually quite a long origin story, but I'll try to make it as short as possible.
Hey, no, hey, we got time. Go ahead and let everybody know.
Okay, so I actually started out as a Disney cosplayer. So this is how it started. Frozen came out in, I think, 2013. Has it really been that long?
Yeah.
And people were noticing there was a lot of similarities between me and Elsa. So all my friends were like, come on, you gotta dress up for Elsa's Halloween. I'm like, fine. I basically just have like the cheap Halloween costume and wig and stuff. But then the kids trick-or-treating at my door were like, oh my gosh, it's Elsa. So I was like, you know what? I want to look into actually being like a birthday party princess, to go to children's birthday parties as their favorite princess. So that's when I started looking into upgrading how I looked, and that's when I found cosplayers. I'm like, what is this? People are actually allowed to do this for fun, not dress up on Halloween and just have fun with it. And that's how it started. Then I started going to my first conventions with some friends, and I just kept adding on the list of Disney princesses for my business. But then COVID happened, and no one really wants random strangers coming into their house anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already a risk in the first place for both sides of the situation, but I think people have kind of given up on it at that point. And I started getting more into like, what else am I nerdy about? I'm also nerdy about Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anime. And then I remembered, wait a sec, part 5 has an anime, doesn't it?
Mhm.
So I watched part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. So I rewatched the entire series. I have been steadily watching it since it first came out. I had a bit of the manga knowledge here and there, but it was hard to find. It's not physical copies. You have to go digitally to read in English. So yeah, and then just then, like basically the brain rot came in, you know? And that's all I could think about doing. And then I also like really liked, so Giorno, Bruno, and Josuke were my first choices on who I was gonna cosplay from JoJo first. It ended up being Giorno because he's the one I relate to the most and I like to cosplay my kids. So that's where I am now.
Yeah, I love that. That's an awesome origin story. It's very different. When you said that you were doing the Disney princess stuff first, I don't know, it just made me think about Ghostbusters 2, when it's like in Ghostbusters 1, they were, you know, the heroes of the city, but then now in Ghostbusters 2, they're doing kids parties, and the kid was just like, we wanted He-Man, not the Ghostbusters. But I think that's awesome. And you know, I did see your Elsa cosplays on your page, and you do look like Elsa, and you do look like Giorno too. So I think that's really awesome that, you know, you started with the Disney stuff and then you started going to the cons. You were also doing other Disney princesses and whatnot. What were some of the other Disney princesses that you did? Because the only ones that I saw on your page were Elsa.
Oh, that's true. I think it's because I don't have very good photos of the other girls, especially because most of them I have are with children I do parties with, and I'm not going to post that on Instagram.
Of course.
But I actually do it a lot, and I still have some cosplays of them, but I'm also trying to sell a lot of them. I think I just sold Ariel's pink dress. So I did Ariel. I do Rapunzel. I'm keeping her because I love Rapunzel. I do the Cinderella live action dress, the big blue with the butterflies. I have that. I did Belle. Even for a short time, I did Sophia the First, like the Disney Junior princess. Yeah. And I had multiple Elsa outfits. Elsa is like the queen of the cosplay realm. I have a lot of her stuff, so I'm trying to sell that now that I don't cosplay her as much. Let's see, is there anybody else? I think that's it. And then I kind of would throw in some more Disney stuff like Rey from Star Wars for some things, but that's all of the Disney stuff I did, I believe.
Nice. And it's a thing that I'm going to say to piggyback off of some of the stuff that you said earlier, but I want to ask you this question. Have you ever thought about combining Disney princesses with Araki's design for JoJo characters? Because I love those combinations where people are just like, I'm going to do this character, but it's going to be JoJo.
I have not. That's actually a fun idea.
That's what your boy does.
I probably won't be able to do that here at college because limited space. I didn't bring all my cosplays with me, but that's an idea.
Hey, and when you finally do that, you know, make sure to be like, yeah, you know, Benjamin Banks, he interviewed me and, you know, he came up with the idea. And yeah, now we're here. So now the thing that you're probably going to be mad at me about, I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh, what a shame.
I know. It's on my list. I have a long list of things to watch. I just watched Tangled for the first time. Yeah. I just I don't know. I grew out of Disney movies when I was younger, and people, they got on me. No, luckily nobody attacked me or anything, but I finally watched the Disney movies. I'm caught up on most of them. Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter are the two things that are next on my list because I never watched those, but everybody always gets on me when they're just like, how have you never seen these movies? And it's like, I blame my mom for most of it, but, but yeah, I'm getting into them now though. But I want to ask you now, you know, going to these conventions, what have been some of your favorite moments going to the cons?
Oh my gosh. It's always great to find people in the same fandom as you. Like, we're cosplaying the same characters and always be like, hey, let's talk about how much we love this right now. And that's always good. I always love to go also to see the small artist galleries there and buy some art. I even have some on my wall right now.
It looks nice too.
Yeah, and I think it's always fun to make new friends, and even at the big one, FanX in Utah, I've actually met a couple celebrities that are super nice. And it was super fun just to get a quick second to talk with them, for them to take their time in their busy day to just come hang out with regular people. It's really cool. I think my favorite I've met, because, he's such a lovely person, is Henry Winkler. Do you know who he is?
Wow, you met Henry Winkler?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yo, real talk, before you go any further, I cried in, what was it, Click? When he was Adam Sandler's dad. Have you ever seen Click?
Oh my gosh, yeah. He plays the best, like, parents and stuff.
Yeah, oh my God, it was so sad. And like Adam Sandler's character, he was just like, I don't want to hang out with you. And I was just like, come on, man.
Who wouldn't want to hang out with the Fonz, am I right?
I know. But don't continue.
Well, yeah, he's super sweet. I was there with my friend. He said our outfits were very beautiful. He doesn't understand why everyone's dressed up, but he loves it. Like, stuff like that. It was super sweet. And then, this is the cool thing. I don't have it here at school, but I actually met, you won't know who he is. You haven't seen Lord of the Rings. Okay. John Rhys Davies. I met Gimli.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. Don't use your stand ability to take me out. I feel ashamed.
I met Gimli. He's the main dwarf in the Fellowship. He even gave me an autograph for free.
Nice. That's awesome.
Because my friends were dressed up as the trilogy of Gimli, Aragorn, and Legolas. So he's like, I must give you this. You're amazing. And on the autograph picture, he actually addressed the fabulous Allison.
That's awesome. I think it's always
in a full suit and everything. He was like very gentlemanly about the convention. It was hilarious. I love him.
Yeah, I always think that it's sweet when you meet celebrities and they do stuff for you for free, especially because of, not saying that, you wouldn't mind going to pay for whatever they're charging, but my celebrity story, I don't know if are you into horror movies?
I am.
Okay, are you into Friday the 13th?
Oh, the original?
Yeah, with Jason Voorhees.
Did you meet Jason?
I met Jason.
Yes, that's so cool.
And it's funny because it was a horror convention here in Virginia, and I was in the bathroom with one of my friends, and I was just standing there waiting for him because we wanted to enter the con together. And then all of a sudden, like, this dude walks in, and he's just like, that's something that you don't see every day in the bathroom. And like, I had pulled my mask up. I was just like, I know who you are. Like, you're Jason. And he was like, yeah, that's me. And he took a picture with me and my friend. And I was just like, yo, like, that's super awesome. Because like you said, it's like, they don't have to do that. And that just goes to show like how humble some people can be. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's different. And, I don't like to take anybody's bag away from them. But for them to, take the time to show appreciation and stuff, I always think that that's a cool thing. And I love your stories that you shared about the convention scene and stuff like that. And because of the pandemic, unfortunately, we had to, do what we had to do from home when it's come to cosplaying and stuff like that. And I love the photos that you post on your Instagram where you go to these places and you do these photo shoots and your cosplays and stuff like that. So I want to ask you, what made you want to, start doing this stuff from home? Because I know some people, when the con shut down and everything, it's like they kind of took a break from cosplaying in general because, their love for dressing up as these characters only came from going to the con. So, what was the drive that made you want to continue to keep doing this from home?
Because honestly, cosplay is a form of therapy for me. I need to do it. It's an outlet, an artistic outlet, kind of how when you dance or you paint and things like that. I still needed that outlet. And that was when my friends were like, hey, there's this app, you need to get on it. There's a huge cosplay community on there. And that's when I started TikTok and all that stuff. But yeah, that I just needed some way to do it because in a way it's like a huge part of me. So I needed to continue doing that. I've only been to One convention since the pandemic, and I've been fine. I mean, it was hard because it's like limited people and we all had to wear masks, and you know, in a place with crowded people and it gets very hot and very gross at conventions.
Yeah.
That made it a lot harder, but it was still fun to go back to the experience of seeing everybody, even if it was slightly different. But it's also been fun online because I made like a huge amount of friends all over the world. So I really love that I was able to do cosplay through another way.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And to piggyback off of what you were saying about the community on TikTok, I know that sometimes, you know, you do have people up there that can be trash, but for a majority of TikTok, like everybody's supportive, the community is great. You know, I've met people off of TikTok, people who I've interviewed up here on Who's That Cosplayer, and like their cosplays, they're awesome, especially, you know, when they make them from scratch or just ordering it online. And, you know, I'm one of those people, it's like, I support either way. Do you have any cosplays that you've ever done and created yourself, or do you just order them?
I do a bit of both.
Nice.
I'll order the big pieces and add details and stuff I want myself. I'll sometimes just make parts and then have one random part in my cosplay that's bought and not made by me. I don't judge either way. I know that hand making can also cost just as much as buying.
Yes.
Or sometimes the other way around, it can be more expensive to hand make rather than just buy from somewhere. So yeah, I don't judge whether someone did that. It's actually, it's funny when you can't tell, because then you'd be like, oh my gosh, I love that. Where'd you get that? And they either tell you where they got it, or they'll be like, oh, I made that. So actually you can't get that. So it's always interesting to find that stuff out.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on that. I actually did a cosplay. I was a cosplay judge last year for a Girl Scouts convention. And to see like the craft that like all of these girls did when it came to making their outfits and whatnot, man, like I feel like being a judge in a cosplay contest is like one of the hardest things in life, because everybody does such an amazing job. And it's like, if I could, I would give everybody an award, but unfortunately you could either only choose one or three people. And
Right.
I want to ask you, what are some of your favorite cosplayers that you've seen online? I've never asked this question before.
That's a hard question.
I know, it was even hard.
Most of them are my friends. You're making me judge my friends. How dare you?
Okay, well then let's do this so that way nobody attacks you. Shout out all your friends and all of their amazing cosplays that they have. Well, you don't have to say all the amazing cosplays that they have, but shout out some of your friends and tell me why you love their cosplays.
Okay, well, I can talk of one who doesn't post too much on TikTok, so you can probably look into more her stuff. She's actually on the lines of a professional cosplay that actually goes and competes and makes her costumes to win. It's Rebel Girls Cosplay. She's actually won, I think, Best in Show twice at FanX, which is amazing. And then, of course, I have like basically my best friends online. I have Bethy B. They like to do Abaki and Bruno with me.
Yes. I know B. Hey, everybody on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks knows B.
And then there's Bestie Jimmy guys. I love their cosplays, especially because they have a lot of, had a lot of Anasui. And I just started cosplaying Fu, so I've been doing them lately. They also are part of the Gucci gang, but there are other cosplays that are really cool as well. And then, let me see. It's hard to remember everyone's unique username. One sec. There's also Bliss Chick. She's the one I collaborate a lot with. She's been Jolene with me. She's been Ari with our KDA shoot. She's severely shadow banned, so please help her. And then, let's see, there's also, oh, there's so many.
I'm so sorry that I put you in this spot.
Okay, how about I shout out some of my Italian friends, my fellow Italians. We got Fugo Cheese Boy, mainly does Fugo cosplay with us. It's super fun because asked me to do Italian audios with the Italian characters, which is so much fun. It's also Trish. What's her full name? Okay, Trish Gavinci Blush. She's a German American in Italy. She also has Italian stuff to do, and it's super fun to find people with like the same heritage as you.
Nice.
And then there's one more I want to shout out because they're actually making a wig for me right now.
Ooh.
Is Pharaoh Mans. It's Declan on TikTok and Instagram. They're actually making me a new Jorno wig because this is almost a year old and it is falling apart.
See, to somebody like me that's looking at your wig right now, I'm just like, it looks awesome. But for you to say, yeah, it's starting to fall apart, it's like, I can't even tell the difference. And I know we talked about this at the start of the interview, but is that wig by any chance the blue hair wig that Geronimo has that we were talking about?
Oh no, it's not. It's just a new blonde one. I don't know. Maybe I could take this one and dye it blue, maybe when I retire it.
Yeah.
But no, it's just I wanted it more natural looking to blend with my head because these are a little ridiculous. So I wanted them a bit smaller and stuff like that. So he's working on that, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, I know. When I started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I want to say part 5 was out by the time that I started watching it. And I remember seeing pictures of Giorno and I was just like, why is his hair like that? Like, why does he have like 3? And I didn't even know who he was. And then I found out, I was just like, Dio's son? I mean, I know that he's Dio and Jonathan's son, but it's just like, Dio? Like, when did this happen? And
I know.
It's funny. And I want to take it to this part of the interview now. But is part 5, is that your favorite part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Who's that cosplayer?
It's Salmon and Jupiter.
And I'm not going to be mad if it's not.
I think it's still a tie between part 4 and 5.
Hey, I just did the fun. Yes, part 4 is my favorite too, but continue.
Yeah, because for different reasons. They're like completely different, but they also are like a group-centered story.
Mm-hmm.
Like part 4, I think I watched that the most because that just gives you really happy vibes compared to like, I think the rest of the parts you're just like,
That's sad.
So watching part 4 is a good boost, especially because Josuke is a precious being and I love him.
Yes, he
I watch both dub and sub. I don't understand the debate between the two and people hating on each other for watching one way. I do not care. And then part 5 is like a really good one I like to do a deep dive into to see what else I can find Iraqi's subtly hid in there and like other things, because it's not so much really in your face. You have to really look for what's serious in the characters and depth like that. That's why I'm very defensive of Giorno when people say he's boring. And I'm just like, well, then you're not looking.
Like, how can they say he's boring? I mean, like, Giorno, he's not my favorite JoJo, but it's like, I don't think that he's boring. I think that he's interesting. I love the fact that it's like he's Dio, but he's also Jonathan. Like, he has parts of the both of them inside of him. Like, when it comes to being a gentleman and his drive, that's Jonathan. But then his anger and him being like a strategist, that comes from Dio. And I just love that it's the best of both worlds when it comes to that character. My favorite character is going to be Josuke. You know, I do love Jotaro, but Josuke is my favorite. Just like how you said, he's a good boy. Part 4, it's just full of happiness, even though you do have your dark moments up there. Kira, he's my favorite villain out of all of the JoJo villains. I like Dio, and a lot of people, they love part 3 Dio, but I love part 1 Dio more because it's like with part 3 Dio, we really didn't get a lot of them until the end. Whereas with part 1 Dio, it's like, this man, I was just like, yo, like, I hate this guy. And and I also agree with you too on watching it dubbed and subbed. I'm one of those people who watches it, especially with part 5. I watched it subbed first, but now that part 5 is dubbed on Netflix, I've watched it dubbed, and I think all of the voice actors, whether it's dub or sub, they all do a phenomenal job. And we actually have interviewed a bunch of the voice actors from part 4. We've interviewed Kyle Hebert, who voices Kakoin in part 3. And we just recently interviewed Sean Chiplock, who voices Mista on part 5. So make sure that you check out those videos. They are here on the channel, and all of the voice actors and actresses are awesome people. And then, of course, how could I forget we interviewed Kira Buckland, who voices Jolene in part 6. So yeah, if you're watching this right now, make sure that you go and check out those interviews. I'm a huge JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan. Trav and Dee, my co-hosts, they really don't like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I made them watch Thus Spoke Rohan, and they're a fan of Rohan. And I'm just like, okay, guys, well, if you like Rohan, then go watch part 4. And it's just like, nah.
It's literally Araki's self-insert character.
Exactly. I don't get it. I'm just like, guys, just go and, check out like Trav, and because I had brought B into this. But Trav, he had commented, he posted it was a picture of Jolene, the one where she strips nude when she's going to prison, and he shares this on Facebook, and he's just like, hey, I might check out JoJo now. And I'm just like, at first I got happy because I'm just like, you're finally gonna watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but then I'm just like, no, you can't watch this because you can't skip the parts. Like skipping parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a travesty. You have to start from the beginning. And he was just like, no, I'm just gonna watch with that. And I was just like, hold on. I tagged B in. They came in. I love B because B always puts Travis in his place. You know what I'm saying? So, but I want to ask you, because I just went on a tangent and said all of my favorites, but you said part 4 and part 5 are your favorites. Who's your favorite JoJo, and who's your favorite JoJo villain?
I love Joseph Joestar. He's so funny and upbeat, and he pretends he's stupid when he's not. So I like him. He made me laugh the most, and that tends to be what I like. But like Josuke and Jorno are like right below him, so it's kind of like a 3-way tie, but with Joseph slightly on top. My favorite villain, of course, is Dio. I like him in both parts 1 and 3 because of different aspects of him. He's kind of like a beginner in part 1, but he's still fabulous. But then in like part 3, he fully embraces the inner diva, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Just all of the stuff that he does, because yeah, I can see that. Like in part 1, he's just a beginner. He's killing people. I'll say that when I watched part 1, I thought it was so messed up when that one lady, she was like, please don't kill my baby. And
that's pure evil, yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, I won't kill him. And then he turns her into a monster, and then he's just like, you will. And I was just like, yo, why is Dio so evil? And then he kicked Danny as soon as he hopped out of the carriage, and then he burned him, then he kissed Arena. I'm just like, yo, like, who is this guy? And part 3 Dio, I do like him, but yeah, he is more of a diva. He's just sleeping around with people. He's sitting in his study reading books and everything. And when we see him at the end of the series, like, he goes all out. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh my gosh. Oh, but I hate the green lipstick at the end. I hate that.
Yeah, it's just like, why? Like, where did it come from? But it's still funny. And I love both voice actors for Dio.
Yeah.
I'm one of those type of people, because JoJo and My Hero Academia are my comfort animes, and whenever I'm working out at the gym on the elliptical, I'll just throw one of those on. And I love hearing Dio scream once a Jotaro defeats him in the dub. And then like after I watch it dubbed, I'll go back and watch it subbed just to hear it. Because it's so sweet, man. Like Dio, he's a good villain. He's in my top 10 villains when it comes to anime villains. But yeah, man, hey, we could talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure all day, man. But I want to ask you now, what are some of your favorite hobbies that you're into when you're not cosplaying?
Oh, okay. So I am actually a dance major. So I'm planning on teaching dance and choreographing that. I really enjoy that. I used to do a lot of sports. I don't do much anymore, but I still figure skate. I still like to ice skate.
Hey.
And I used to draw a lot as well, but that's kind of turned into like just drawing on my cosplays and planning those out instead. But video gaming, oh yeah, I'm really into video games. What one did I just finish? Trying to remember. Maybe it was that long ago that it was Resident Evil Village. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. This is crazy because I was just gonna blurt that out, but I was just like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be wrong because I literally just beat Resident Evil Village as well. And were you afraid when you were playing it?
No.
Exactly. Like Resident Evil 7 was scary.
That was scary, yeah.
Yeah, like I remember playing the demo for that and I was screaming. And I was on the phone with one of my best friends and I was like, don't ever tell anybody I was screaming. But for Village, I'm just like, man, I'm just breezing through this. I'm just
right. And no one took them seriously. I kept seeing videos on TikTok of people literally harassing Lady D and stuff like that. I'm like, no one finds her scary. They're just messing with her.
Yeah, they made the fly swatter and was hitting her. I'm just like, yo, like, but I agree, like it wasn't scary at all. It was on the same level as Resident Evil 4. You know what I'm saying? Because Resident Evil 4 wasn't scary for me, and I feel like when it comes to Resident Evil games, like I want to be scared. I want to jump out of my seat.
Yeah, you want to have your adrenaline going, you know?
Yeah, especially because like when it comes to horror games, I love playing those with the lights off and just screaming whenever I get scared. And you know, since we're here on horror, what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Horror movies. Oh, I'm actually just rewatching Predator right now. I like the 80s classic ones where kind of all this original stuff was coming out instead of all these remakes that are really bad.
Yeah.
Like Predator, the original Alien, of course Friday the 13th, Halloween, things like that. It's been hard to try to get into the more modern stuff because they just don't have good stories or good tension. But I mean, I'm also okay with like horror movies that make me feel uncomfortable because you're not supposed to be like, oh yeah, this is terrific, you know, the entire time. So stuff like Midsummer or The Witch, things like that were just like, oh, this is so creepy.
Yeah, Hereditary. Oh my
Hereditary. God. Oh, that was so weird.
Yeah, it was, man. It's crazy that you just mentioned Predator because earlier today it was on the BBC channel and I watched Predator, Predator 2, and then Predators came on right after. And I've always, rewind. I've always liked Predators more than Aliens, but I do like Aliens. And like how you were saying about like all the 80s and 90s stuff, like the prosthetics in those movies, like my favorite horror movie of all time is The Thing. And it's because of how creepy it is. And like they play music at like the right moments. And that's something that you see in a lot of those classic horror movies is that they play the music at the right moments. It's quiet when it needs to be. So that way that you can scream when you get to that certain scene. And I agree that like a lot of horror movies nowadays, some of them, they try to emulate what we had back in the day, but sometimes it's not as good. I feel like I mentioned Hereditary, that you mentioned Midsummer, like those are really good movies. I'm a fan of, what is the movie? Insidious, like those are good. Then of course, like the stuff in the Conjuring universe, like Annabelle and all that stuff. But yeah, like those 80s and 90s, like those are classics, man. And yeah, were you watching Predator earlier today? Were you watching the BBC channel?
No. I started it yesterday. I'm gonna finish it today.
Oh, okay. It's just, what's the coincidence? Like, you know,
I found so who is he called? It's like this Irishman that reviews movies. It wasn't a recent video. The critical drinker. He likes to say he films these drunk. So, but anyway, for some reason on like my YouTube algorithm for you page, it's like he reviewed The Predator. That was like the new one in 2016. He's like, it's terrible. It sucks. I'm like, okay, tell me why. And it was all great points. It was exactly why all these remakes are failing nowadays and stuff like that. And he's like, I recommend you go back and watch the original. So I'm like, okay, let's go do that.
Yeah, I agree. But sometimes, I mean, like, I feel like certain remakes are better than the originals. I don't know if you've ever seen Pet Sematary, but I enjoyed Pet Sematary, the original one, but I also like the remake. And I think that the remake is better just because of the direction that they go in with it. I don't know if you've seen the remake, but
I've seen the remake. I didn't know there was an earlier one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so check out Pet Sematary and Pet Sematary 2. Pet Sematary, dang, I'm mad I can't remember the guy's name who wrote Stephen King. He was a fan of Pet Sematary, but he wasn't a fan of Pet Sematary 2 because Pet Sematary 2 was it was non-canon in a way. You know, he never wrote Pet Sematary 2. He only wrote Pet Sematary. So when you watch Pet Sematary 2, while it is a good movie, I can understand like why he's just like, I'm not a fan of it, you know. But hey, Pet Cemetery, the remake, is really good.
Yeah,
so.
it's kind of like with like It and the It remakes. I actually think the original is still better, even though like technically or whatever, when it comes to the book, they added more into the parts 1 and 2 what actually happens. But I'm also kind of like, no one needed to see that.
Yeah.
No one wanted to see that or
Yeah.
stuff like that. You're like, don't put that in a movie. That's ridiculous. So stuff like that. I mean, I feel like movies nowadays try to add so much gore because they think like, oh, gore, it's automatically scary. But it's like, have you met like millennials? we're like not fazed by anything. So it's just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's like why I couldn't get into The Walking Dead at first, because it's just like blood, guts, and gore. I'm like, where is the actual root of the story, you know?
Yeah, I feel
But
that.
yeah, so I just think, I mean, while the effects are really good, I can say that. It's just something different about original horror movies using practical effects, like Jigsaw, you know? They like all go in and handcraft these traps themselves in the way that it works. So I like that more than them CGIing everything, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Did you ever see Spiral? Okay, like that's like a continuation of the series. If you're huge into the Saw franchise, I highly recommend it. But I agree with you. It's just like when it comes to the prosthetics and, you know, not using CGI, because sometimes even if the CGI is really good, I mean, you could still tell that it's CGI, you know? So one final question that I have for you, and I wanted to ask you this at the start of the interview, but I'm glad that we're here at the end of the interview, because you've done these Disney princesses and whatnot. Give me your top 5 favorite Disney movies of all time.
Of all time?
Yeah, and this include, and it can be Pixar, the 3D stuff, and the hand-drawn.
So probably nothing recently. I know I cosplay from Frozen, but I'm sorry, that movie's actually not very good.
Oh, wow.
The original Frozen. I mean, the second one did a lot better, I think, for adults, but like the original Frozen is definitely for little kids.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of the Renaissance movies, I think the Disney Renaissance are in the 90s. I really like Tarzan, Mulan. I didn't really watch The Little Mermaid very much, so I don't think that's on there. But Tarzan, Mulan, definitely Lion King. That's actually probably my top one. That's the one I was obsessed with growing up as a kid. I'd watch every day. That was basically my Frozen, was Lion King. But whereas Lion King is actually good, so my parents could stand it. Frozen. But yeah, even then, I could probably only give them 3 because the rest I watched weren't Disney. They were like Anastasia from Fox. They were The Swan Princess, things like that. Those animated movies. So yeah, it's probably those 5 that I can always rewatch and have fun.
Well, I mean, in a way, I don't know about the Swan Princess, but you know, Disney, they own Fox. Yeah, they own like Fox's catalog now, and
I know
Anastasia is on Disney Plus.
She's on Disney Plus now, but she's not theirs. That movie is not theirs. They did not make that.
I know, but I mean, you know how some people like to say that, oh, now that Disney owns this, it's like this person is a Disney princess, and
I would love it if they had Anastasia at the parks, but I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that you bring up Anastasia, because I was just having this conversation with a friend. But when I was a kid, I thought that I was the only person who knew what Anastasia was, because like nobody talked about it at all. It's just like a Titan AE, what's the other, like Treasure Planet and Atlantis.
Oh, Treasure Planet and Atlantis, so underrated.
Yeah, those are like underrated movies that nobody talks about. And I don't know if it's true or if it was just a rumor, but I had read somewhere that they were going to be doing Anastasia TV series or something. I don't know if that's true, but if it does happen, I'd be all for it, because I feel like, you know, these shows and movies that were underrated, they definitely need some spotlight, because again, like back in the day, like parents weren't going to take their kids to see certain things unless, you know, it was Disney or something. Like my mom wasn't going to take me to go see Anastasia or Titan AE. Like I had to wait to watch that stuff when it came on TV on HBO back in the day. So I have one more final question for you, then we can wrap this thing up. What is some advice that you would give to anybody that wants to get into cosplay?
Oh, really just do what you want to do. I know it's a lot harder now because you're online and a lot of people think they're experts at this stuff now and will demand you to do certain things a certain way. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can cosplay any character you want. You can cosplay the way you want to do it, and just do what you want. I know it's easier said than done, but you do learn to tune out those people who just criticize you for literally no other reason than just the fact that you're a cosplayer. But I can let you know that you are welcomed into this community. We're all a bunch of nerds and geeks here, so let's all be weirdos together.
I love that. And that is a good way to end this episode. Take Allison's advice and just have fun with it. So with that being said, thank you everybody for watching this brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? Allison, thank you so much for joining me. Before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
All right, so the easiest way to probably find me is on TikTok at A.R M Productions. Links to my Instagram and other places are also connected on there. They're slightly different usernames because apparently someone else had my original name, but it's all linked down there in my profile.
Nice. And thank you so much for joining me up here. You were awesome, and I love your cosplay.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm always going to
love it.
It's
so much fun.
Thank you. And everybody, you know where you can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks at KingBenji_Banks. On Twitter and Instagram, you can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you, everybody, for watching this brand new episode. Keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.